If you're watching this video, then chances are you want to know what a query letter is, how to write one possibly, and if they even work. We'll address all three of those topics. But first, let's talk about what a query letter is. So for all intents and purposes, a query letter for screenwriters, for the most part, is going to be an email that the screenwriter sends to any type of agent, manager, or producer, or even a studio to market themselves and their screenplay. Keep in mind that your query letter really is going to serve three main purposes. It opens the door to establishing a relationship with the producer or agent or whoever it is you're sending it to. It also is going to be requesting permission to legally submit your screenplay, because typically in most cases, producers and agents don't accept unsolicited materials. And the last purpose is that it creates a paper trail, which is going to provide some type of written record of everywhere that your screenplay has been submitted. And this is just in case there's some type of dispute in the future over your idea or your screenplay itself. This is generally a good habit to be in anyway, because you want to have a log of everywhere your screenplay's been, and it just keeps you organized. All right, so let's get back into what goes into the actual query letter. Now, there's no real set hard rules on what has to go in there, but some of the more common things that you want to have in there are definitely going to be the title of your screenplay, the log line, some info about yourself, and any type of relevant details about your background or accolades or awards or anything that might be relevant to just kind of help sell your credibility. So if you won some type of major award, you want to include that. If you've had a screenplay that was produced into a movie and it's somewhere that, is a good movie that the person can access, then you want to list that. Be conservative in this section where you're talking about your background and accolades and awards, especially if you start getting off topic about how this doesn't really contribute to your screenplay being awesome. Because at the end of the day, if your screenplay was as good as you say it was and it's got all this critical acclaim, then this agent or producer would have probably found you before you found them. The number one thing that's going to grab their attention is going to be every single time the log line. So if you don't know what a log line is, I'll put that in the description and you can check that out, because I go into detail as to how you can write one, what goes into it, the purpose of it, etc., etc. But the log line is really going to be the selling point of your query letter. All the awards and all of the accolades and background stuff is just additional stuff that may or may not help. At the end of the day, the producer or agent is interested in the concept, and you're basically trying to sell them on the fact that you want them to read this screenplay, and you're trying to hook them with this letter, and you want to be as concise as possible. I can't repeat that enough, because typically a lot of these people are super busy and they don't have time to read a full page or a super long treatment or anything like that. They just want to get the meat and they want to be hooked, and they want to see, something that's going to excite them. And make sure that when you're addressing people in your query letter, you want to address them specifically. So don't write anything like "to whom it may concern" or anything like that, because you don't want it to come off like some big super spam blaster that, is just going out to whoever gets it and whoever and anybody who's just, happens to catch this email. Make sure that it comes off like you've researched this person. And, you can do that by just addressing them by their first and last name, or their first name or last name. It's up to you on how casual you want this to be. Use your own discretion with that. So let's talk about if query letters even work at all. Are they worth your time? And really only you can answer that. But in terms of if they work, that's going to really just kind of depend. I hate giving that type of answer, but that is what it is. From my own personal experience, which is all I can speak from, when I've written query letters in the past, specifically to have my screenplay written, I've had success with it. So an example was I sent a query letter to Rainforest, which is Will Packer's former production company, probably maybe 6 years ago, something like that. But I sent it to their director of development, and it had my log line, an introduction, and just, some brief info, like one sentence about who I am. And I got a response back within about maybe a day or two. She liked the log line and concept, basically requested to see the screenplay, read the screenplay in a couple of days, and then gave me another email back just asking if we could hop on the phone. And from there, we just, started talking and developed a working relationship. So that's pretty much all I have for this particular video. Again, if you want to know how to write a log line, check out my previous video on that. Also, I've got some samples of some query letters on my website, and I'll put a link of that in the description. All right, peace.